Next week, on your day of victory, we invite you to join us for special focus on Holy Week and the Passion of the Christ. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you then.
Here in the Caribbean region, our climate is changing, resulting in intense heat as temperatures soar. This increase in temperature is having a significant impact on our energy sector.
With the increase in temperatures, we, of course, are expecting an increase in the use of electricity or cooling, etc. So there's an increased demand on the utility companies to, provide for that overload on their systems.
The hotter it gets, the more energy need there is for cooling among the population, but also the harder it becomes for electricity to be produced. So the efficiency of electricity production is typically also lower when it's really hot.
But there are ways we can help. Simple actions can make a big difference.
There are certain measures that we can take to make sure that we mitigate some of the possible impacts, such as using LED bulbs.
It's up to all of us to take proactive steps. Stay informed and prepared. Together, we can weather this storm. For more information and updates, follow CIMH on X, Facebook, and Instagram.
Number one team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that concludes the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Raven Davis.
And I'm Jay Philippe.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Here's a live look at the Bahamas Tonight. They're coming your way next.
Please.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
First at 11. Some relief as the Trump administration offers the Bahamas and fewer than 100 countries reprieve from that reciprocal 10% tariff tax. Why? The leeway granted as a gesture for those who did not retaliate. Also, we hear from the COO of Bahamas Power and Light following that major outage last night, which left thousands of consumers in darkness. This comes amid several power outages over the last week. And providing healthy greens to the community of South Eleuthera, that has been the charge of the One Eleuthera Foundation as it teaches residents the importance of agriculture and homestead farming. The Bahamas Tonight at 11 starts now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Royson Jones, and this is the Bahamas Tonight at 11. Welcome to the broadcast. New at 11, the Bahamas is among 90 countries that has gotten a 90-day reprieve from the Trump administration's 10% reciprocal tariff to export duty-free to the United States. According to international reports, United States President Donald Trump announced that those countries that had not retaliated against U.S. tariffs would receive a reprieve. Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, delivering a national address on U.S. tariffs and the implications for the Bahamas. The Prime Minister confirmed that he has been talking to leaders of other countries, reaching out to executives in the Bahamas' business community and consulting with economists, as well as trade experts to assess the likely impact, including planning for multiple scenarios. He contends other countries are also subject to additional or higher tariffs.
If the 10% tariff on Bahamian goods imported into the United States remains, Bahamian exporters in multiple industries will soon feel the impact. We have been in contact with U.S. officials regarding the change in policy, and we are working with fellow Caribbean countries on collective diplomatic efforts. We are also speaking with Bahamian exporters and working to understand whether there are short-term policies we could enact to cushion the fallout.
Prime Minister Davis affirms that his government has taken trade diversification seriously, with significant efforts to create new trade relationships already underway. Those efforts will now be intensified. And to that, this concern.
Another significant risk to the Bahamas is that a slowdown in the U.S. economy will slow our tourism industry. We will be convening industry leaders as we evaluate options for mitigating the risk we face if the new tariffs are not significantly unchanged as U.S. policy evolves.
Thousands of Bahamas Power and Light customers left in the dark last night after a major outage knocked out the electricity of nearly half the residents here in the capital. The company says the issue originated at one of its primary generation plants. Here's what Bahamas Power and Light Company's Chief Operating Officer, Anthony Christie, told reporters earlier today.
We lost about 83 megawatts of generation on the system. So immediately our teams assessed and determined what the root cause was and started restoration. We had a lot of spare capacity at the other plant, so we started to bring on those units. So the longest the outage was for most customers, for a minimum amount of customers, about an hour. I was returned to service in 2 minutes. Some people were 20 minutes or less. So it was a varying length of time, but the longest was about an hour.
According to BPL officials, the outage was not due to weather, but a systemic issue. The power purchasing agreements signed today are expected to help prevent instances like last night's outage.
PPAs are adding more generation, cheaper generation that, boosts our capacity, but anything can happen, cleaner fuel, etc. So the cost of production will go down. But again, if something happens on the system, our goal is to restore and use our spare capacity that's available to get everything back to normal as quick as possible.
Well, 3 power purchasing agreements were officially signed today, signaling a major shift underway in the energy sector. The Davis administration committed to generating a new energy era, bringing solar and LNG both to New Providence and the Family Islands. Devontae Hanna has the story tonight.
The Davis administration taking a significant step on its road to achieving 30% renewable energy by 2030. This morning, Bahamas Power and Light Company inked 3 power purchasing agreements promising to construct solar-powered microgrids on several Family Islands and the capital.
Light bills have already decreased, and they are set to go even lower. In the near future, frequent power outages will be a thing of the past.
Out with the old and in with the new. The Davis administration joining forces with Eco Energy Bahamas Limited to deliver the capital's first ever 20-megawatt solar plant along with a 5-megawatt-hour battery system in Coral Harbor.
With the development of this facility, we are taking a decisive step towards reducing our dependence on imported fossil fuels, stabilizing electricity costs, and enhancing grid reliability.
2 additional deals also signed, bringing LNG and solar-powered microgrids to Exuma, but first, Abaco and Eleuthera.
Construction is scheduled to begin in the 3rd quarter of 2025, with an expected completion date in the 3rd quarter of 2026.
We're going to be installing 8.5 megawatt LNG production in Georgetown, Exuma, accompanied with a 3-megawatt solar production.
According to Energy Minister the Honorable Jobeth Colby Davis, these reforms will ensure residents on every major island have access to the same quality and affordability of electricity as those in New Providence.
To be clear, this moment is an opportunity for the Bahamas to lead in sustainable energy generation, reduce carbon emissions, and secure a brighter future for our citizens.
And the Prime Minister is convinced this move will open the door to greater economic growth and opportunity.
We have expedited progress across all fronts, expanding our LNG and solar capacity throughout New Providence and the Family Islands.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Devontae Hanna.
Thanks, Devontae. Well, North Eleuthera MP Sylvatus Petty making it clear he will not be in his party's lineup of candidates seeking re-election come 2026. But he's made clear his decision has nothing to do with a fear of losing the Family Island seat.
North Eleuthera is my seat, trust me. And that's why I tell you, in 5 years I'll be back to reclaim my seat. As simple as that.
So you just need a mental break?
A mental break, yes, a mental break. We don't have a 9-to-5 job. And, it's always constantly on the go. And then, so I have to get back to just some me time. For my family and just to take a mental break. That's basically it.
The North Eleuthera MP adding that while 3 potential candidates are on the ground in North Eleuthera right now, he hasn't offered up any recommendation on who should fill his shoes. Furthermore, while he may be pushing frontline politics aside, the PLP MP is actually falling back to take on an equally important role.
I will definitely be working along with Mr. Mitchell, Fred Mitchell, and the chairman, Kevin Simmons, to get the PLP re-elected. So I'll be playing that role. Be working closely with Mr. Simmons and Fred Mitchell. So to return the PLP to government.
In addition to Petty, Michael MP Basil McIntosh also not expected to offer himself as a candidate for the Progressive Liberal Party in the next general election. PLP Chairman, the Honourable Frederick Mitchell, said with those two exceptions, the party expects to renominate the rest of its current members, adding that the party is more than ready to meet its targets.
Necessary to be blowing our horn at this point. It's what is necessary is we've gone through every constituency. Every member of parliament's been assessed. The course or the module has been done. There's another one which will be coming up shortly. So we are preparing. And people, I think so far 15 or 16 constituencies have their targets set. There'll be others in another couple of weeks going with the assessors to see where they are. And we're ready to go to the races.
The government is moving ahead with plans to improve healthcare access across the country, this time right here in the heart of the capital. Ground officially broken today for a brand new clinic in the Coconut Grove community. Here again is our Devontae Hanna.
Shovels in the ground Wednesday on what will soon become the Coconut Grove Advanced Health Center, set to be built at the corner of Blue Hill Road and University Commons near the National Insurance Board.
The facility is approximately 14,500 square feet at a cost of just over $10.5 million. Once completed, this multi-million-dollar Coconut Grove Advanced Health Center will serve as a community clinic providing primary, secondary, and urgent care services, taking some of the strains off the Princess Margaret Hospital Accident and Emergency Department.
According to Prime Minister the Honourable Philip Davis, the new facility is part of the government's broader push to upgrade and expand healthcare infrastructure nationwide.
I see a brighter future for healthcare in this nation, and it is not too far away. As we recognize and learn from past setbacks, we are making significant strides towards a better future.
The groundbreaking follows similar developments in the Family Islands, including Mangrove Key and Palmetto Point last year. Officials say once completed, the Coconut Grove Clinic will offer a range of medical services aimed at meeting the growing demands of the community after the last clinic was severely damaged by Hurricane Matthew in 2016.
The former clinic on Auckland Street, it needed to be renovated, expanded. There wasn't sufficient space. It is something in our administration that we were looking at. We are grateful, and when I say we, the people of St. Barnabas are very grateful for the groundbreaking.
This all the more reason to ensure the clinic is built with resiliency in mind.
The Coconut Grove Advanced Health Center will be built to what they call EDGE certification, making it not just sustainable and handicap accessible, but climate resilient.
Senator the Honourable Michael Alkita says clinics are a constant point of discussion during cabinet meetings as the country's stability is widely dependent on its healthcare system.
Sound financial policies and advancement can only yield real progress if our people are healthy and able to contribute fully to our nation. Without robust health and wellness, even the most strategic economic initiatives will fall short.
After the start of construction, the new clinic, according to Dr. Darville, is set to be open in 15 months. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Devontae Hanna.
In other news, the country's tourism industry could be in for a stormy season, and not because of any pending weather system. Corvell Pyfrom has more on how the central bank governor says all of this global economic uncertainty could slow growth in the top industry.
As global stock markets went on a tailspin Wednesday, frenzied by more uncertainty created amid this ongoing trade war, here at home, visitors, many from America, were still arriving. The country's tourism sector has been on a steady rise, performing stronger than even projected post-pandemic.
The outlook for the Bahamas is that the economy is going to continue to expand, and that is really just a reflection of, how we expect tourism to perform. However, when you factor in the tariff developments in the United States, what we're saying is that globally, growth will be slower.
That's because this tariff war will cause many consumers, especially those in the U.S., to buckle down, scaling back on discretionary spending, like vacations to the Bahamas.
The expectations are that U.S. consumers and others are going to be more cautious and reserved in their spending, and then that means, as far as the Bahamas is concerned, the potential growth that we can expect in tourism is going to be lower than it would otherwise be. And if we're not, too careful, depending on the severity of the adjustments that happen, we may experience some interim setback in tourism.
But the governor seems uncertain of the scope of a ripple effect. And as the country celebrates a rating upgrade from Moody's, trouble could still be ahead.
We appreciate that in the near to medium term, the outlook for inflation is a little bit less certain than it would have been in the absence of the tariffs, as well as the outlook in terms of how fast our economy could grow in the medium term looks a little bit less clear than it would have been in the absence of the tariff and the adjustments around the tariffs.
And so the government expects that we will feel some impacts, especially to our #1 industry. But he insists our response must be measured. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corvell Pfeiffer.
Thanks, Corvell. Still to come, the cannons are being restored. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight at 11. More news in just a moment.
Step into a life of luxury and convenience with the Commonwealth Bank Platinum Card. From earning premium cashback rewards on every dollar spent to enjoying comprehensive travel insurance, shop with confidence, knowing your purchases are protected. Our Platinum Concierge service turns your requests into reality, wherever life takes you. Let the Commonwealth Bank Platinum Card be your passport to exceptional experiences. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Hello everyone, this is Tony Williams back with a special promotion from BahamasAir.com and GoGo Florida. The $100 deposit is back, but it's only on your debit card. So whether you're renting that sedan, SUV, or spacious minivan for group or family trips, keep your cash in your pocket. Only Dollar Thrifty is making it convenient for you. Your $100 deposit held on your debit card. Available at Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, and Orlando. Book now and save big all summer long.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, where safety is first.
Despite billboards going up all across the island and repeated reminders from officials about practicing safety while driving, we still see signs that many of these messages are being overlooked or outright ignored. Corvell Pfeiffer reports how officials are again shining the spotlight on distracted drivers and urging them to stay focused.
Daily, traversing the streets, particularly here in the capital, feels more and more like maneuvering an obstacle course. An obstacle course whose navigators' focus often doesn't seem to be the road in front of them. Drive around any day of the week, and it doesn't take long to find drivers distracted by any number of things when their singular most important focus should be on what's in front of them. Instead, we find them eating, drinking, applying makeup, and perhaps most regularly, using their mobile devices.
It's very, very important that people practice safe driving on our roads for themselves and those amongst them.
Transport Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis is acutely aware of these daily infractions committed by drivers that create a hazard on our streets. And with a staggering 19 traffic fatalities already recorded this year, she is ramping the message of road safety up to all road users. Through a recently launched campaign, she's prioritizing reaching young drivers.
Them still are driving to school with parents, family members, friends. And so for them to now be the voice to say, hey, let's not do that, pay attention to the road, safety measures should be adhered to as you are operating a vehicle. And so that's been the message that I've been doing lately.
The minister's road traffic and road safety plan are multi-layered and call for buy-in from various stakeholders, particularly those in the public transportation sector. But overall, the minister wants everyone operating a vehicle to adhere to road traffic laws.
And seeing the concerns that we've had about fatalities, it's important for us to, as much as I can, remind people, do not be distracted, wear your seatbelt, practice safe driving, don't be under the influence and get behind a vehicle. That's why we have our public service transport available to get you to and from safely, or have a friend who's going to be that responsible driver or family member to take you home, or call someone.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corval Pyfrom.
If you passed by Arawak Key in recent times, you may have noticed that one of the historic cannons there on West Bay has been knocked down. Well, the Antiquities, Monuments and Museums Corporation has started the process of restoring one of Nassau's historic treasures. Felicity Darville takes us a look.
The 4 cannons perched at the perimeter of Arawak Key and pointed towards Nassau Harbor are known as the Water Battery. They were established in the 1790s, and in the 1840s they were upgraded. They remained undisturbed, mostly as a tourist attraction, until this year when a car accident occurred at the site. The Antiquities, Monuments and Museums Corporation is now in the process of restoring them, according to archaeologist Dr. Grace Turner. The water battery was designed to gun down enemy ships trying to enter Nassau Harbor. Although they're no longer in use, they represent an important part of Bahamian history.
As far as we are aware, Nassau was attacked and captured twice during the American Revolutionary War. The new American Navy, their first foreign conquest was to capture Nassau in 1776, looking for gunpowder, but we had sent it all out. And then in 1782, the Spanish from Cuba took over Nassau because during wartime, people in the Bahamas could get government permission to attack enemy ships, and they wanted to shut that down. And in the treaty that ended that war in 1783, Great Britain actually traded the Bahamas for Florida. Great Britain gave Florida back to Spain in order for Spain to give the Bahamas back to Britain.
Considering the rich history of Nassau, Dr. Grace and her team are working hard to preserve it.
These cannons are getting a long overdue refurbishment 200 years later as the AMMC moves to preserve this aspect of Bahamian history. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Felicity Darville.
Thanks, Felicity. Smarts, skills, and stamina, the triple threat each of these youth possessed. Daniel Dean watched the National Youth Guard trainees right in the middle of a rigorous training exercise at the Southwestern Defense Force Base.
To sink or swim, Cohort 4 of the National Youth Guard are diving in headfirst into their futures, most of them with hopes of becoming Defense Force officers in the near future.
The main reason why I joined is to help out my mother and make her proud, along with my other family members and friends. It was a strenuous process. It's not an easy process, but it's a great process. It's a beneficial process in the end, in the long run. Lots of certificates, lots of benefits for the future, and physically, it's a great benefit as well.
17-year-old Tatiana McKinsey only hopes she and her peers will be among the roughly 150 officers recruited into the Defense Force each year and thereafter make a difference in our country.
Because it's a lot of things happening around us. I hope that each and every one of us could get along perfectly fine to serve our community in the right way.
The group has been through the fire, thrown into the deep end, and still managed to stay afloat. In the process, making Chief Petty Officer Kelsey Missick stick his chest out with pride.
This is an outstanding group of young men and women. Their growth has been tremendous from day one to now. I am sure that they are going to be an incredible force for good, not only in the ranks of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, but wherever they go in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Reporting for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Danielle Dean.
Thanks, Danielle. Bahamians nationwide have taken full advantage of growing their own produce, ensuring they maintain a healthier lifestyle. The One Eleuthera Foundation, based in Rock Sound, Eleuthera, has gone a step further by not only teaching residents about the importance of agriculture, but providing healthy greens to the entire community. Altavis Munnings begins a 2-part series on the benefits derived from this multi-million-dollar hidden gem.
The One Eleuthera Foundation has built this massive greenhouse. It's called the Oasis Grow House. And right here is where you can find everything green. Come, let's take a look.
We currently have lettuces, mixed leaf lettuce blends, head lettuces, tomatoes, cucumbers are in growing, maturing. We have arugula and spinach.
And all of those vegetables, according to Oasis Grow House's crop production officer, Dr. Salima Hauber, are in high demand across the island of Eleuthera. Built in 2021, the first crop began growing in 2022. And fast forward to today, the operation is now entering its third season of production.
We begin the week with harvesting on Mondays, and that product is processed quickly, and then we begin shipping out on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So the product gets to the consumer, whether it's a restaurant or grocery store, within 24 to 48 hours of harvest. And then once those busy days are tackled, our crew here spends a lot of time planting seeds, maintaining the beds, whether it's weeding or transplanting new crops in the beds. There's always a lot going on here.
Oasis Grow House has 3 massive water tanks and a reverse osmosis water system with the capacity to store more than 1 million gallons of runoff rainwater collected from the structure itself. The 1.1-acre facility also houses the first retractable roof cooling house in the country.
Others who are interested in entering the industry and wanting to be able to produce vegetables on a large scale and improve or optimize their yields, this would be the structure to check out.
In part 2, we'll tell you how Oasis Grow House is growing more awareness on the importance of agriculture across Eleuthera. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Altaviz Munnings.
Looking forward to that second report, Altaviz. Amajal Knows has a look at what's coming up in sports. Amajal?
And a Bahamian, a vital part of a national college basketball powerhouse. Details of that story and more coming up in sports. Welcome to your Wednesday Sports, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles, topping sports. Well, on Monday night, it was the College Basketball National Championship. Florida Gators facing off against the Houston Cougars in a game for the ages. The matchup saw the Gators rally to serve the Cougars a heartbreaking loss. But all in all, a Bahamian, a key contributor to Houston's success all year. Assistant strength and conditioning coach Brian Clark Jr., a vital part of that staff. And we recently caught up with him. He gave us an in-depth look at his role on the team.
I mean, I spend my days just preparing our athletes for the physicality and the mentality for the games you see us play. And so I don't have direct impact on whether we lose or win games because I ain't the one out there calling the plays or making adjustments. But I believe when you look at the adversity these athletes just face throughout the year, especially like in the summertime when we train from 6 in the morning from June straight to September, like every day is a war, bro. Like every day is competition based. It's intense from a physical and a mental standpoint. But if I could put it in a nutshell, it's all I do is just ensure that the coaches that's on the court just have a healthy and high performing squad to choose from.
Clark also speaking on what goes into making an elite basketball program.
I think we do a good job at just doing those things like every day. Like we consistent in everything we do. We do a good job at using our sports science metrics to make sure we don't have no major discrepancies that would hinder us from competing at our best. And then a lot of Power 5 programs have like a paid nutritionist, but we handle that as well ourselves.
So on hoops from the association, Kai Jones continuing to shine down this late stretch for the Dallas Mavericks. Jones supplying 18.7 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 1 steal over 20 minutes of play before fouling out. The Mavs' 135-104 loss to the Clippers. Jones was the beneficiary of some extended playing time, and he made the most of the extra run by delivering a perfect shooting performance from the field while contributing in the defensive categories. The two-way player is eligible to suit up in just one of the team's final 3 games. Though he could be available for all of those contests, if Dallas upgrades him to a standard NBA deal when the team is first able to do so on Thursday. Kai speaking about his opportunity, more playing time.
I feel like I've always been there. I've put in a lot of work. You've seen me since I was young, putting in the work. So I've always been working on my game. It was just a matter of picking my spots correctly and, learn how to really be in the moment and focus on what it takes to actually win in the game on the offensive end, defensive end. So just learning and listening and grasping, that's what it was for me.
In track news, also from this weekend, while the Carifta Trials took center stage, the biggest story to emerge, perhaps that being of Carlos Brown Jr., the World Under-20 finalist and Pan American Under-20 champion, running in the 100 meters in the Olympic development section at the trials. He would run a new personal best of 10.04 seconds. As it stands today, it would sit at number 3 in the world for senior men outdoor competitors. Brown's time also would have been good enough to win a stacked 100-meter field at the recent Grand Slam event held in Jamaica.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to thank God for allowing me to go out there and run that fast, because I had like a little issue with my hamstring, but I just put my faith in God and went out there and hopefully did my best, and I did. So I just want to thank God for allowing me to go out there and run an injury-free race and a fast time and a legal time as well.
I know.
But consistency is key, but it ain't hard. I mean, it is hard, but you just gotta stay focused and always put God first. Do what your coach say, and yeah, be disciplined.
Finally, the Bahamas Chess Federation unveiling its national team for the upcoming 2025 Sub-Zonal Absolute and Women's Chess Championships be held this week in St. Anne's, Trinidad. This event serves as a critical qualifier for the FIDE World Cup, one of the most elite competitions in international chess. As such, it holds significant weight for the players involved. Representing the Bahamas will be 3 of our nation's most accomplished and promising chess talents. Women FIDE Master Paulina Carolina, the highest-rated Bahamian player by FIDE ranking. FIDE Master Cecil Moncur, the reigning 2025 Bahamas National Chess Champion. And Woman FIDE Master Chica Pride, the 2024 Bahamas Junior Girls Champion. And that's been a look at your sports on this Wednesday. A check on weather when we return.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is producing work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
Here at Immigration Care Service, you can trust us, especially if you have experienced issues or problems with the U.S. immigration at the borders. We'll do our best to provide options and solutions to immigration roadblocks, so travelers can continue visiting the U.S. and residents can continue living their lives in the U.S. without worries. The best part? Our services are affordable and accessible. Take the mystery.